Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to not nap time. Why do I say that? Well, I took like a 4-hour nap today, so you'd think I shouldn't be as tired as I still am, but I am. Someone who is tireless even at this point, Desert Fuchs. We'll call him DF, just because that's a little bit easier. Willkommen back to the channel, lads and ladies. And we have a German boy in the Japanese M24 Chaffee. The Chaffee, M24, yes, is the Chaffee. Sorry, I did mention that I'm tired, right? He's gonna get an absolutely ridiculous number of kills in this tank RB match in Port Novorossiysk, which is one of the least tactically diverse maps in War Thunder, in my humble opinion. I think that Gaijin learned a lesson from this map, which is something they're capable of doing, apparently, when it comes to map design. And for the Swiss city map, they made sure to have less of a focus on straight lines of fire and more... Well, I mean, this city itself, of course, has more curvy paths, but they also have avenues blocked off to force you to take a less than direct route sometimes. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke, just like DF is doing at this point. You wouldn't think from the way that he's playing that he's in probably the deadliest light tank in its tier, comparatively speaking, in War Thunder. The American 75mm cannon, the shortstop stabilizer, the 5-man crew, the good mobility, the list goes on and on. Light tanks are not generally extremely popular at this tier in War Thunder, with people who are less cultured preferring the excessive amounts of penetration Kachiga available on the German machines, or the exceptional amounts of armor on vehicles like the KVs, the T-34, the M4 Sherman. All kinds of things can compete with the M24, but none of them bring all of the very meta killing power mechanics of War Thunder to bear, so much as the M24. Add to that the fact that it has access to a hefty amount of smoke grenades for its turret-mounted grenade dispenser, and you have a meme machine in the making that experienced players of War Thunder have heard about and experienced for themselves quite a bit. And if you stick with this channel, you'll keep seeing more Chaffee again and again. T-28 somehow manages to bounce the almost 90mm of armor penetration that the Chaffee is capable of with its, I think it's 15mm side armor. Yeah, I'm gonna chalk that down to server issues, but let's see if it... Oh, well, never mind. He gone. In any event, DF already up to 5 kills, and he's going to get more than 3 times that amount in this life, in this battle. Look forward to that. I suspect that what we're going to see is a lot of one-shot kills. Next up, a one-shot kill, surprising no one. The Swedish low-tier tank destroyers, even when they're capable of fielding a respectable 50mm of frontal armor that serves far better at the very lowest tier than it does at this level, they just can't quite keep up with the Chaffee and its very manageable gun platform that has consistently accomplished one-shot kills, usually center mass on enemy vehicles. That is nothing new for M24, and the way DF is playing, you'd think that this is the kind of thing he experiences fairly commonly. I met him on the War Thunder subreddit, which is sometimes a place where you meet cool people. And I am happy to share his experience with you all today. He was another person who had an incredible match, and he was so excited that he jumped onto the Reddit and shared a screenshot of his results screen. And I am a huge fan of that. I think that sharing that thrill of having an incredible match is definitely one of the most exciting and rewarding things in War Thunder, and it's one of the reasons that I became a YouTuber. I really wanted to share my incredible matches. The European Canadian featured me on his replay series a couple of times, and I realized that there was just so much more I wanted to share with people, and here I am spreading that to you all. So I always encourage people to brag on the subreddit or anywhere people come together to talk about War Thunder. You have a great match, man. I want to hear about it. It's nice to see somebody having a good time in this game. Can't really say that so much for DF's competition, but at least they'll know they died to the best. This is, again, going to be one of the highest kill games you see on this replay series, and it really is understandable. DF has been time and time again in a position to do well. He did absorb one hit early on in the match, but he's playing very capably here, using the smoke grenade to obscure the view of the enemy Sherman, and listening for where he is, popping a speculative shot into the smoke and finding his target through the side armor of the enemy medium tank. Moving right along. This is a delightful little vehicle. It's always fun to see somebody having a good time. Goodbye, T-28. I expect you to die. That shot not bouncing off the thin side armor of that Soviet heavy tank that is modeled as a medium tank in the game for understandable reasons. It doesn't have thick armor, it's just excessive in every other regard. Anyway, it's been a long day. It's been a long week already. What are we, about halfway through this one? And, man, that custom camouflage, that one takes me back. I remember back in the day when we had the Tokiches living in our house. They were a newly married couple looking for a place of their own. And I was like, hey, you know, I've got 2 bedrooms in my upstairs. You guys can live with us while you're looking for a house. And that was just a really great time. Brooklyn had just been born, and she was a little tiny baby, and the Tokiches are just full of love and encouragement. Just some of the best friends that a person could ever ask for. And I remember showing off the custom camouflages that I make, and Jared liked this one. And maybe that's just another reason that it's extra special for me. It was designed back in a time where the colors really popped a lot better. Gaijin did something with especially the blacks in the game. They sort of crushed them, and the way that the dark accents on this custom camo look is a lot different than the way it did in the past. It makes the camo look a lot more dull, but I still like it. I think it has sort of a timeless charm, and a lot of that has to do with the art that I grabbed off of some random people's DeviantArt. I mean, come on, don't think this is an original drawing on here, but I just kind of slapped on these pictures in a way that makes me smile. In any event, enough about me. DF doing great here with a triple ace already. Just seemingly effortless kill after kill. You can tell that he's listening, and if you're listening very closely, you can hear an enemy tank off to his left. And whenever I hear a vehicle, I tend to check my minimap and try and determine if that's friend or foe, and I'm rarely surprised after that point. Enemy, almost side on, enemy T-20, have I been saying T-28? I think it's called a T-26, I'm not quite sure. But he's gone now. He won't be bothering us anymore. A lot of these lower tier Soviet tanks can have a real issue with the M24. In fact, almost everything is susceptible to the M24 at most angles, with the rare exception of, say, a KV having a lot of real estate where it can absorb or bounce a shot from the American 75, but the cannon, with its almost 90 millimeters of penetration somewhere in the area, things get a little bit swifty sometimes. At close range, which is where you'll be engaging most enemies most of the time at this tier, and especially in Port Novo, unless you engage in like the one sniping alley. Machine guns are enough to take down the enemy SPAA. But even heavily armored tanks, relatively speaking, have their weak spots generally from the front, generally right next to the cannon breech, by design, I'm sure. And that is something, with the incredible amount of precision you're able to have in War Thunder, especially when you're not using the more realistic view from the gunner's sight option, then you can deal with even more heavily armored opponents. A 1-2 punch from the N3 goes into M24, but it's no problem. An incredible amount of kills and a fantastic match, ending in a victory. Now, hearing no engine sound for the Ka-50 because War Thunder replay system, we have our very own OP Senator. For those of you that are not familiar, OP Senator is one of the good guys. He is a great person in general, a nice guy, good head on his shoulders, very reasonable, and he is employed by Gaijin as, I think it's something of well, you know, I interviewed him, and I swear I understood what he does better in the interview. I'm just very tired, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but he's one of the people that interacts with us, the community, and also with us, the War Thunder YouTuber community, and he has been, with my few interactions with him, he's just been a great person to deal with. And the reason that I really like OP is that he actually plays the hell out of this game. So not only does he spend a lot of time relaying issues from players to Gaijin and acting as a go-between, which is an endless and mostly thankless job. My appreciation, OP. You're one of the good guys. But also, he plays the heck out of this game. Now, anybody can jump into a Ka-50 for roughly that amount of American dollars and have an experience that up to this point has been very similar to what OP Senator is experiencing. But do not be fooled by either the poor version of player view that we're experiencing right now, or the fact that he's in a premium helicopter, don't let that fool you into thinking that OP has a simple, unexciting, or undynamic way of playing this helicopter. He's playing cautiously, he's playing very responsibly, the way you do in top tier, and he's going to get tired of that and make life interesting. I'm not entirely sure why he's popping flares. In fact, I'm not sure if he's popping flares because War Thunder replay system, but that's definitely the sound that I heard. Is it an enemy aircraft? I'm not quite sure. What I am sure of is this shit show of a replay is going to get more interesting soon. I promise you. But this is sort of the experience with helicopters in general and the Ka-50 specifically. As an ally goes down beside him, enemy SPAA, enemy jet, enemy tank. Hard to say, but all of them capable of engaging at extreme long range in this game, and we do see an enemy helicopter. Russian bias anti-everything missile out and tracking a little bit off as OP follows a Tiger helicopter. Proximity fuse goes off, but was it due to extreme range or did it trigger against the enemy helicopter? Hard to say. Tiger flying in the trees, another fuse goes off, and OP Senator consistently popping flares just in case there's a heat-seeking missile incoming. Indeed, the flare count going down. Enemy SPAA with guided missiles seeking targets in the sky in OP Senator's location or general area. Also some fire coming up from, is it a Gepard? Hard to say, but speculative shots at long range as fellow Ka-50s cruise around looking for something to kill. OP still seeking enemy Tiger, seeking to clear the sky, making use of his fantastic number of stellinium-infused anti-everything missiles, and yet still not getting satisfaction. It is a serious game of cat and mouse, and helicopters definitely have more of a chance to face off in fair terms against Ka-50 and other Russian helicopters equipped with the anti-everything missiles with their proximity fuse and their fantastic range and firepower against enemy ground vehicles. So, what do we do at this point? Jets coming in to try and clear the infestation of pay to win on this side of the battlefield. OP Senator pitching up to take on the enemy jet, but very aware of the effect that's going to have on his altitude, staying near enough the ground to avoid perhaps a bit of detection, but definitely needing to be aggressive to defend himself, picking up his first jet kill and aiming at second. Not sure if he has him with the targeting computer. It looks like he does, as the cannon opens up to devastating effect on a second enemy jet, getting his second air kill, his second kill in the Ka-50. Not a bad start to the match. Now, of course, OP already had a bit of activity earlier in a ground vehicle, the way you do, and now he's reaping the benefits. And you can see there are a number of things that can cause issues for Ka-50 and any other helicopter in the game at top tier. It is technically possible to engage enemy SPAA and tanks outside of their effective range, but that can be extremely difficult to actually get good results with, as unlike in helicopter enduring confrontation, you're not dealing with a single type of enemy. As you saw, jets come in and harvest the souls of helicopter pilots that lack either situational awareness or effective anti-fast moving aircraft defenses or weaponry. Enemy SPAA, very capable of taking you down in a short amount of time, again, especially if you're not focusing on them. But OP, clearing an infestation of his own, taking down enemy SPAA after SPAA, prioritizing appropriately, moving in aggressively to take down the foe, and an SPAA that's a bit more difficult to recognize, the Leo A1 steak sauce. It ain't a steak without an A1 on it. And the Leo A1 with its ridiculously effective 20mm turret on top of the main accoutrement is a perpetual thorn in the side of whirly boy heads like myself and OP Senator. They do not forgive you for not recognizing their location. They do not warn you with a radar warning receiver ping, as the dish they use to find the enemy is the dome of the player. The dome of the player. That sounds like kind of a fun, like, D&D module, right? Anyway, it's all about metagaming. Anyway, what am I talking about here? So, he got 2 jet kills. One of them with his anti-everything missile, the way you do. One of them with his cannon, using to good effect the lock-on feature available to helicopters at this tier. And he respawns in another Ka-50. Now, the thought has gone around that the Ka-50 is cancer, and I definitely agree that everything that has these Russian anti-everything missiles, just the way they're modeled in the game, they are far more effective against other helicopters than any other weapon system, and it is a game changer. You're looking at 16... right, is it 16? No, it's 4, 6, 12, sorry. 12 guided missiles that are guided by the player and thus don't suffer from the shenanigans that happen every time something is adjusted or there's a bit of packet loss in terms of heat-seeking missiles. They have a longer range than most heat-seeking missiles, no need to wait for a thermal signature detection, and the proximity fuse the payload very effective. But between range and reliability, they just shut down helicopter EC. But in a tank match, helicopters are extremely vulnerable, even if they are very capable and powerful in their own regard, and compared with things like the P-10, I would actually take the P-10 over a Ka-50. In fact, that's what I've been doing. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video, and as always, there's a link to the Discord if you'd like to send me your own replay or come engage with the community. Great group of folks there. Group of folks. This is an entirely different matter. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.